Hello! Welcome to our music phases and life stages of Dear Booksplosion live show. Today we're going to be going through the albums that marked our life stages, all from like the inception of our music lives till now, and looking back at like different albums and like what they meant to us and if they still hold up to us. And we've all written down like 10 to 15 albums that have like marked like different life stages leading up to now. We're gonna talk about our first concerts and like our most recent concerts and like the memes and what those albums mean to us and what stages of life they've got us through, and middle school music and all different stuff. It's going to be a very exciting and fun discussion. So hopefully you stick around, and we'd love to hear, like, as we're going through our life stages, what your album was for each life stage. So feel free to like shout out and join the discussion in the chat because we've got that open. Yeah, so like let's kick this off with like our first CD/tape that we asked for.
Wait, I think first we want to mention.
Sorry, I got really excited. Let's mention our Booksplosion books of the month.
I don't have my copy handy.
I don't either.
Chain of Iron!
Chain of Iron is our current book of the month. Our live show is coming up on April, I want to say, 3rd. April 3rd. So you still have time to read Chain of Iron. And to read Chain of Iron, you have to read Chain of Gold. It's the second book in Cassandra Clare's The Last Hour series. It is excellent. All of Cassie's books are excellent. If you've never picked up a Shadowhunter book, you do have to read The Infernal Devices before you read Chain of Iron. So that's 3 books. So it's a little late to hop on the bandwagon for our live show if you haven't read those yet, but still highly recommend reading them. They're amazing. And so, yeah, this is Dear Booksplosion, our hopefully going to start being monthly again live show fun discussion where we just talk about life and such. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet to get notifications when these go live, please do so. My name's Christine.
My name's Jesse.
I'm Kat.
And we're Booksplosion. If you don't know, we run an online book club. That's what this is. We read a book together every month and come discuss it with you at the end of the month. And this is Dear Booksplosion, our like podcasty, fun, random life discussion, other thing that we do. So, okay, now let's kick things off with like the first CD or tape that you asked for and got. That you remember.
I can't believe you just said CD or tape.
Yeah, well, some people got a tape.
Yeah, they were tapes back in the day.
Yeah, CDs were new.
I think my first one was a tape.
Mine was a CD.
I think I had. Well, now I'm forgetting because I was gonna say mine was Spice Girls. But now I'm thinking I also had there's another group that was out at around the same time called Bewitched.
Bewitched was a little later that I discovered.
It was a little bit later. I had their cassette tape.
Oh my god, I had their CD.
Wait, what song is Bewitched?
Hey boy, I'll show you mine, you show me yours.
They were in that one Disney Channel movie, right?
Let the fun begin.
No, I think you're thinking of S Club 7, which was also.
Yeah, wait. It's like I have
the Disney Channel movie. It was like the house and.
Yeah, that's S Club 7, isn't it?
S Club 7?
Yeah, I don't think Bewitched was in it. Say you will, say you won't, say you'll do what I do.
Weren't they like Australian or Irish?
They were British, I think. I thought.
Bewitched.
Weren't they? Oh, maybe they were like Irish. I think they were Irish or something. Yeah. But yeah, they came out like around 5th grade for me, and Spice Girls were way earlier.
Yeah, Spice Girls were way earlier. That was the first album that I had was Spice Girls.
Yes. Was it Spice World or was it like Spice Girls, their first album?
It was their first album. I was like 7 or 8, I want to say.
Because I got it in 3rd grade, I remember, and I was 8 years old, and I saw it at Costco, and I like begged my mom for it. And then I got home, and it only had "Spice Up Your Life" on it. I thought it was gonna have like the "If You Want to Be My Lover" and that one. And then we had to go back and get that one too.
Yeah, it was Spice Girls, and me and my sister loved them. Like that was my introduction to being a fan of something, because like I was such a fangirl for the Spice Girls.
Jesse just sent us a link for Bewitched. I never knew they were in Smart House.
Smart House, I remember.
I was like not into that movie, I remember.
But I do remember S Club 7 having a show.
Yeah.
I remember that too. I never watched it though.
I watched it, but it was so long ago I have no memories of it.
Wow.
I remember being so obsessed with the Spice Girls, and I had this little jukebox that was like green and purple, and I would like walk around the house playing the Spice Girls, and Lydia made up dances to some of their songs, and it was the best. And I went into school, and I brought the Spice Girls CD and put it in the old computer, and like all the girls like cuddled around the computer. We played Spice Girls, and the boys were like Pokemon, and we're like Spice Girls, Spice Girls.
I like both. I also like Pokemon. One of my most distinct memories of the Spice Girls is that my sis, like my birthday's in February and her birthday is in August. So like my birthday at that time, we weren't big into them, but like over the course of those 6 months, we got really into the Spice Girls. For her birthday, she got all the Spice Girls merch. Like she was getting posters and all this great stuff. And like I was really excited too. And my sister was so mad. She's like, "Why are you excited? These are my posters." And I'm like, "We share a room. I'm gonna."
Like Spice Girls had so much merch. Like they had Barbie dolls, so I had all the Barbies, and I kept them in the case because I was like, they have to be in prime condition, like because that's what my dad used to say. Like they're gonna be like valuable if only if you leave them in the box. And like the Ginger Spice was like the most rare because like she left the group.
I didn't have the dolls, but I was obsessed with their movie.
Oh my god, I know.
So many times.
Oh my god, same. It's so fucking weird. Like I went back and watched it like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh my god, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
And see how it stands up to the test of time, because like I loved that movie back in the day, and like I can only remember some of the vague ridiculousness of that movie.
It's so weird with like the aliens. But Jesse, yours.
Sorry. I have two technically, because I don't know which one was like the first one I had, but I think it was Jump 5. Like I'm pretty sure it was
your fave.
My favorite, my all-time favorite. I was obsessed with Jump 5. I even like did this thing where they had like a VHS out that I got like back in the day or whatever, and I like set up a karaoke machine that like I could record stuff on a tape, like on a.
Oh yeah, I had that too.
So I like pretended to interview them and like would record myself. I'd be like, "How or what is your day to day like?" And then I would play their like tape and like record their answers. So it was like having my own little radio show. I was just so obsessed. And then my other one is S Club 7, which was mentioned. I was obsessed with that S Club 7. Like I feel like honestly, like it's not surprising like my music taste now because I loved like pop groups growing up. I love pop groups, and like that's been a consistent thing in my life. So
you guys like the A-Teens because I was obsessed with, like upside down, straight into the ceiling.
Inside out.
Oh my gosh.
My mom was not a fan of the A-Teens because she wanted me to listen to ABBA. So she was like, "What are you listening to?"
I know. My dad was always like, "Wow, they're just doing ABBA." But I love them. And also not all their songs were ABBA. They had their own songs too.
Yeah, but their popular ones were ABBA.
Not upside down, straight into the ceiling, inside out. What? I remember 5th grade I wanted to do the talent show to that one, but then we ended up doing it to the Madonna song, "Hey Mr. DJ, put a record on. I want to dance with my baby." Do you guys know that one?
No. I don't know it, but I don't know it well enough to sing it.
It was because Britney Spears introduced me to Madonna because she did like a cover of one of Madonna's songs or something, or Madonna was in one of her songs. I can't remember. She kissed Madonna, but that was after that. Anyway, okay. So that was like our first introduction there. Like, what are your first concerts that you remember asking to go to?
I never got to go to concerts. I live in the middle of frickin' nowhere. So my concert opportunities were quite limited. Also, my parents were very overprotective and didn't want me to like go to San Francisco because it was dangerous. So I couldn't really go to concerts. It was very. I couldn't even go to Disneyland until I was like 20. That was my first trip to Disneyland. And I live in California, so it's not even like, like it's a place that was very difficult to get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a sheltered childhood.
I have a few answers for this. Okay, so first off, my dad was in like a Southern gospel quartet group, and they like traveled around the Midwest. So like he was my first concert by default. Like I went to his concert, so there's that. And then my parents surprised me. I think it was in like 3rd grade. Yeah, I think it was in 3rd grade.
Oh, that's early.
For my birthday one year, they bought me tickets to a Jump 5 concert.
Oh, nice.
We road trip to Texas, stayed with family there, and got to see Jump 5. It was great. They opened for like a rock band. Have you guys ever heard of Three Dog Night by chance?
No.
Okay. Well, it was very interesting because like it was like a super pop teen group, and then it was this like oldies like rock group. Anyways, and then like the concert that like I went to on my own for the first time was Paramore.
I went to those too.
For what was that album?
For Brick by Brick?
It was Riot.
Wow, I went to the next one, I think, the next city.
They were an opener for that tour anyways, and like everybody's just stayed for Paramore and then left right after they got off the stage. I felt so bad for like the actual like
oh my god, what? They didn't stay with them.
I know. So that was my freshman year of high school. So
wow, yeah. My first concert that I asked to go to was Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again tour, I think. And it was the most exciting thing of my life. I was 10 years old and like I was completely obsessed with Britney Spears. And me and Olivia both dressed in red. Like I had like a red halter top and red like leather pants to be like her in the Oops, I Did It Again music video. And oh my God, my cousin Carrie took us and we were 2nd row at this Atlantic City concert. And it was like, for so long, the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I was 10 years old and it was like, I didn't know. I don't know if she used to lip sync back then. Like I'm assuming maybe because she still had that like that classic mic, but like she put on such an amazing performance and like I was a dancer and like she was like so good at dancing then and like, oh, what a time. Like forever, for so long until the Gogs. She was like the best concert I'd ever been to.
Those are the two that I wanted to see the most was Britney Spears and Lady Gaga. I also later on when I was more obsessed with like pop punk, I really wanted to see like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance like in a real concert because I had seen them before at Warped Tour. That was I don't count that as a concert because it was like a big outdoor festival with like different stages where people were playing. But I did go to Warped Tour when I was 17 or 18 because by then I convinced my parents that San Francisco was safe and like if I went with other adults and my friends I wouldn't get kidnapped and murdered, so like it was fine. But yeah, that was like my first sort of concert experience was Warped Tour and it was a lot of fun. I had a blast. I went to I think 3 of them total over like my end teens, early 20s. And I loved it every time I went. It was so good. And now they don't do Warped Tour anymore, which is very
they stopped it.
Yeah.
I got
to see some bands before they became super popular. Like I saw Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Paramore, I think.
Yeah, they had like all the up and coming bands.
Yeah, they were up and coming at that time, and like a couple years later, you couldn't even get to see them because like their shows were all sold out.
Right.
Yeah, I saw like Backstreet Boys. My friend brought me to that as my other friend Jenna brought me to NSYNC, and like
Wow.
both of those were cool, but like they were not Britney. And like, and like I was never like obsessed with the Backstreet Boys or obsessed with NSYNC. I was like, they're cool. I like the Backstreet Boys songs better, but like I loved Britney. She was my everything. Like, she was such an icon through elementary school.
Have you guys seen that like boy band documentary on YouTube by chance?
No, I was gonna say, did you see the Framing Britney on Hulu?
Yeah, I did watch that.
That was so sad. Like,
eye-opening. Yeah.
because we just didn't have that, like, know anything about, like, I mean, we were young when this was going on, so it was just like hard to sympathize. We only saw what the media was showing us, and it was all terrible.
Yeah. Like even just like thinking about like I've definitely said, oh, like they're having their Britney moment kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, I didn't realize how like terrible that is to like.
Yeah, and I didn't like even think about like they're trying to take her kids completely away from her.
Yeah.
Like that's when this was happening. Like she was going through so much shit.
Yeah.
And just her whole life of like how she was raised and like was into the spotlight so young, and like
and the question she was asked, like,
oh yeah, the questions.
When they asked her like, "Are you a virgin?" and she's like, "Live," and it's like, "Excuse me?" And like when they were asking her like, "So what do you think about Justin and like his music video? How you cheated on him?" Like it's just like,
yeah, it was gross,
horrible. So. Anyway, that was very, like, I was so upset watching that. It was a cry.
I mean, it's hard not to be. It's like, wow.
I know. Okay, so what was the next album after your first, like, obsessive album that really you feel like marked an era of your life?
I had one that I don't have a ton of memories about it now. I only really remember one song, but I begged my parents for this album because I wanted it so much. And it took a while to convince them because the group was called the Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, that like 1 week, that song.
1 week, yeah. So I was obsessed with that song. I wanted the album so badly, and I finally convinced them to get it for me. And I really only listened to that one song. Like I probably listened to the other ones a little bit, but that is the only one I remember. But that was like the first album I had that was like really mine. Because like the Spice Girls one was one that my mom bought for me and my sister to share.
Oh.
Like the Bare Naked Ladies was like is my CD. It was my first CD.
Nice.
Oh.
What do you got, Jesseth?
I don't really know like what my next album was necessarily. I just remember like I'm trying to think of like I think middle school is probably more middle school. I think like High School Musical, like the soundtrack was like a really big thing during that time for me. So I guess that, but I don't know. And I feel like 8th grade was like Taylor Swift for me too. So, which I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah, you're like jumping a little bit ahead of what I've got next. I've got like Oops, I Did It Again, which is like the defining CD of like my 4th and 5th grade life. And then I also have Shania Twain's Come On Over, like, man, I feel like a woman. That one, my mom had that CD in her car, and I was like obsessed with listening to it. And like for the 5th grade talent show, one of the like the cool girls did a dance to Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I was like, oh, I love this song. I wish we got to do a dance to this song. I just felt like the coolest song ever. If you haven't heard Man, I Feel Like a Woman, like go listen to it. What an iconic bop. Yeah, and then came my middle school era, which was like the kind of like pop punk, like Blink-182, all the Small Things, and like the boy, the girl, all the bad guys want. What was that?
Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup. Oh yeah, and almost oh my god, 1985. That song was Bowling for Soup. That was so big. And also Stacy's Mom. I remember listening to that so much.
Yeah, Fountains of Wayne. Yeah.
Yes. Fountains of Wayne is right by my house, the actual place that it's just like a fountain shop. And I remember passing it. It was by the mall and being like, "Is that where the name came from?" And it is where the name came from. They're from near me. Middle school, guys.
Middle school. My middle school was a little bit before your guys's, and that was my pop band era. That was years, and I loved NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, which like that was a big rivalry. Like you had to choose.
Yeah, it was.
You can't love the competitive, like they're rivals.
You had to choose a side.
And so my side was NSYNC, but like I like both of them, and I listened to both of them.
My side was Backstreet Boys, but I listened to both too.
I also listened to what was it, 98 Degrees.
Oh, I never listened to them. I was like, they're not cool. They don't dance. The
reason I got into 98 Degrees, I think I'm remembering this correctly, is that they did the closing credit song for Mulan. And I loved it so much that like it turned me on to 98 Degrees.
Amazing.
Oh my god, I just watched Mulan and I listened to them and I was like, this is a boy band from the early 2000s and I can't place them.
It's 98 Degrees, I'm pretty sure.
No, it came up eventually in the credits. So I was like, oh, there we are. But yeah, and then
middle school, and a little bit at that time was also like Destiny's Child and No Doubt.
No Scrubs was huge.
Yeah. TLC, yeah.
TLC, No Scrubs was on Now That's What I Call Music, like 11 or 7 or whatever they were on.
Oh, man.
I loved the Now album so much because it was like it was all the mix of the popular music at the time. And now we're up to like Now That's What I Call Music number 180.
Oh, it's in the hundreds?
I have no idea. I'm exaggerating, maybe. I might not be because there's so many of them at this point. But the day they were like their releases were spaced out more, so you could look forward to them and anticipate them.
Yeah,
and I love them because like those were some of the albums that I would actually listen to like almost all the songs because they were always playing on the radio and I liked them.
I remember 7th grade, Avril Lavigne really hit, and then she was my everything. Like
that didn't hit until I was in 9th grade. That was my freshman year, right when I was starting high school, and it affected my entire personality.
Oh my god! Everyone was like, "I wanted to be Avril Lavigne, like wear a tie and like cut off collared shirt and be like super cool with my eyeliner,
like all these safety pins like in your jeans."
Yeah, I heard the song "Complicated" out on like Nickelodeon when they did like their music videos on Friday nights or something, and I was like, "Oh my god, I need that CD now." It just like I don't know why I was like, "That's me." Like this song is so everything.
I'm dead. So funny.
Yeah, and then me and Jenna went to see her Under My Skin concert in our freshman year of high school, and it was amazing. She played violin and piano and guitar, and we're like, "Mom, isn't she so talented?" And she was like, "Yeah, she is." I know.
So funny.
Beginning of high school, late middle school.
That was my beginning of high school. I feel like she hit right before my freshman year started. It was like over the summer.
Yeah.
And I was going to a high school that was like a little bit away from my junior high, where like my junior high was small and like several junior highs fed into the high school. So it was the perfect time for me to reinvent myself
as Avril.
Because I didn't know everyone who was there. It wasn't like our same class that like went all the way up to high school. Like in high school, at least half the students were brand new. I'd never met them before in my life. So it was the perfect time for me to reinvent myself. And that was when I started getting into like pop punk. Avril started it. But then it really took off with Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco, and actually Fall Out Boy, because I got into them just before they broke out, like when they had their original, very lesser known album, before From Under the Cork Tree.
Thanks for the Memories?
No, Thanks for the Memories was even after that.
That's what blew them up. Yeah.
No, I thought Sugar We're Going Down is what.
Oh yeah, but what was the name of the CD though? Was it Thanks for the Memory?
From Under the Cork Tree.
Okay. I remember in freshman year, my friend Jessie Rosenberg had their whole CD on her iPod, and she loved them, and I tried to like it, but I was like, ah.
That was From Under the Cork Tree was possibly the first album that I would listen to the entire thing all the way through on repeat, because I loved all the songs. They were all so good, and I still to this day can probably sing along with every single lyric because they're just like embedded into me at this point.
Jesse, was your freshman year of high school like still High School Musical?
No. My freshman year was like Paramore. That's like when I like.
Oh yeah.
So annoying because like one of my friends at the time like made fun of me for listening to them, and then
they were so cool.
The concert came around, and guess who was at that concert? Yeah, my friend that made fun of me for liking them. So like, okay.
Oh my god. My freshman year was like when iTunes started happening, like, and like you get a free song on the bottom of your like, was it like Pepsi or Sprite or like? It was like a soft drink company.
Yeah.
You had like a code and you get a free song. And I got my first free song, Redneck Woman by Gretchen Wilson. And that started my obsession with the song, I'm a redneck woman. Now you know I'm class product of a raisin. I say, hey, y'all, and y'all.
Like, I remember that song, but I was at a stage in my life where I hated it because I've never been a big fan of country, and like I've liked a few country songs over the years. Like I did like Shania Twain back in the day, but like I live in a rural area where like so many people loved country. So like I had friends who would only listen to country, and it would like drive me crazy to the point where like I hated country on principle. So
we lived in an area where like no one liked country. So me and Jenna were like, oh my god, country is so cool, and we're so cool for liking things that people don't like.
No hipster.
Yeah, totally. And then we got into country, and guess who we fucking found?
Taylor. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember when I first heard Taylor Swift, and it was like, it wasn't actually, Jenna had already discovered her on LimeWire, and I had not. But like my cousin played a song on the way to go visit Boston University. Our song came on, and I was like, oh my God, this song is everything. Like, you know, you just connect to her lyrics so strongly. You're just like, oh my God, she's just like me. And like, I needed to hear everything she made after that. And I remember like telling Jenna about her. She's like, oh my God, wait, I have one of her songs, Teardrops on My Guitar. And I was like, oh my God, what's that? Must listen.
Teardrops on My Guitar was my first introduction to Taylor. But I feel like if I had heard like our song or a different one of her songs, that would have hooked me on to her much earlier than I actually did. Because Teardrops on My Guitar was fine, but like it was like too country-ish for me at that time. And I wasn't interested. I was like, oh, so Taylor Swift is country. And I didn't listen to any of her music until later on.
My first Taylor song is Tim McGraw.
Oh yeah, that was one of the ones then too. Yeah,
right. But like, I feel like that's not a very good introduction into Taylor Swift.
Well, I don't know. That was one of her most popular ones because Tim McGraw was a big name.
Yeah.
I think that one got on the radio first, maybe. But someone just said Cascada, and I forgot.
Wait, Bass Hunter? Anybody? Bass Hunter?
What? No? Yes, I know Bass Hunter too.
What's the song?
I
never wanted.
Yes, I wanted to say it.
Oh my God.
But
spiraling.
I remember Cascada at the school dances when it came on. Like everyone dropped everything, and it was like the Guido dancing at the Jersey ones was insane. Every time we touch, I get this feeling. Every time I reach for this. Yeah. And then like, boy meets girl. You were my dream, my world.
Oh I cannot.
Oh my God, what a song. I love all that CD that she has. All those like electro pop songs.
Yes.
But yeah. that's the age of Tay Tay, her first CD, and that first CD like definitely like marked that era for me because like I only listened to like 4 songs and 2 of them weren't even like on the album. They were like LimeWire songs of like God, what was that song about like being in the car, putting her makeup on, and he has green eyes?
Song is that one?
No. Like
No.
when they're in the car and like he puts his hand on her heart and like she wakes up and puts her makeup on. It's not on the CD. Oh, what is it called? I haven't listened to it in so long because it's not on the CD. I wonder if it'll be on her re-recording.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Taylor Swift songs.
Looking it up.
One hand on the steering wheel and the other
on my heart. Turn around. No, that's not it. I'm mixing them up because I don't remember this one. It's something I know puts her makeup on and like he has green eyes or something. It's not our song. I sang the wrong lyrics, you guys. Let's see. Songs that aren't on the album, like it's like something I don't remember.
We'll come back to that.
I'm so upset I can't remember it. So disappointing. You know, one of them was like heart ? But that's not the one I'm thinking of. Oh,
who else did you guys listen to in high school? What other albums did you have?
So Kesha was big for me in high school. I loved Kesha. I had her album in my car for like I think all of sophomore year. I'm pretty sure. We had Edgy Miley when she dropped, what was that? Can't Be Tamed.
oh my gosh.
Loved that moment. Imogen Heap, I used to listen to her all the time.
Oh my god, me too.
Hide and Seek.
Imogen Heap, I think this was her. The Garden State soundtrack. Do you guys remember that?
I don't remember that.
Garden State had Zach Braff from Scrubs. And Natalie Portman, I want to say. Anyways, it was a really good soundtrack. I didn't listen to a lot of soundtracks, but I really liked that
one. Obviously, Taylor Swift, listened to her in high school. Also, Katy Perry was big for me. What was that album? Teenage Dream? Was that the album? With
all this was after high school.
California Girls or whatever?
This was after. Wait, no, her first. I Kissed a Girl was in high school, I remember.
Well, for me, I think Teenage Dream was still in high school. I'm pretty sure.
Teenage Dream was for college for me.
Yeah, so that album, so good.
That was a great album.
Yeah,
so many hits.
Yeah.
Hot then I'm cold. That one.
Oh yeah.
The first Hillywood Twilight parody.
That's what I'll forever associate hot and cold with.
Yep.
I also listened to a lot of Wizard Rock in high school.
I hit that a little later in life.
Do you guys remember All Caps, by chance?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I listened to that in high school quite a bit.
I didn't like their songs. Like I wanted to like them, and I didn't.
No, unplug me.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Did any of you did Blackout hit any of you hard in high school? That was Britney Spears'.
Oh my gosh.
CD.
Oh,
Heavy on the floor.
I remember the singles, but by that point, my high school phases were all about pop punk and like Fall Out Boy, and like I listened to them when they came on the radio, but I was out of that phase of my life. I was edgier, so.
Was that the album that had Piece of Me on it?
Yeah, and Get Naked, Get Naked, Get Naked, Take It Off.
F-U-C-K Me?
No, that was Circus.
Oh, that was Circus? Okay, I just remember that.
I remember finding out what that title, what that song actually meant, like blew my little mind. I was like,
F-U-C-K Me?
Yeah.
Honestly, these are some of her best albums: Blackout, Circus, and
I
Femme
love
Fatale.
Circus.
Yeah.
I like Circus, yeah.
Femme Fatale is actually my favorite of hers. I think every song has hits. But yeah, Circus was great. That was in college for me. But Blackout was I was rooting for her so hard because it was during her she had just had all of her like mental break stuff, and I really wanted her to come back, and she came out with Piece of Me, and I remember the first time I heard it was just on the radio, and I was like, oh my god, this is Britney. Like it was like before you knew that things were coming, because like there was no Twitter, like stuff that
there's no social media to warn you about albums coming.
Yeah, and it was like, it's Britney, bitch. Came out, don't, like, give me more. That was the Give Me More album. And then she had that really sad performance where she just like was really out of it on the MTV Movie Awards. Do you remember that? It was like, she was wearing that.
I vaguely remember it. Like, you could just tell that, like,
yeah, she was wearing this like black, like bra thing and underwear, and like she had this yellow wig on, and like she was just kind of like swinging around a pole. Like she was.
What song was it? I'm looking up.
Give Me More. Give Me More. It was like everyone talked about it because it was such a bad performance. And like Britney usually put on an amazing performance, like in previous MTV Movie Awards, Music Awards. So it was really sad, but the album was really good.
Oh, I just remembered that Gaga was also high school for me.
Oh.
Dance, that whole album, oh my gosh.
That was my freshman year.
When the paparazzi video came out, and it just like changed the game for me. I was like,
you remember that performance?
I still go back and watch that.
Like, me too. It was amazing.
To my core, I was just like, why aren't people doing more performances like this, you know?
Like, Gaga swept me away. I heard Dance Dance. I saw that. Like, I used to stalk iTunes every week, and I saw that single, downloaded it, and from then on, I was, like, obsessed with her.
I was just, like, amazed because, like, it's kind of unheard of to have performers like that who can sing live and dance like that. And I was just like, how is she doing this?
Have, like, an art piece. Like, her performances are, like, art pieces.
Yeah.
Especially the paparazzi one.
Yeah.
Gaga also got me right away. It was after high school for me, obviously, because I'm old. But I remember after Just Dance came out, and like I was watching interviews with her, and I remember discussing this with my boyfriend at the time because like she was such a personality, like even in her interviews. And we were talking, we were like, is this how she really is, or is she performing? And it wasn't until later that we realized that like her whole career is a performance. Like she's just an artist through and through. And like even you can tell in the very beginning how truly talented of a singer she was.
Right.
Like you kind of realize later when you're like, oh, she actually has like an amazing voice.
I knew it, and I told everyone, and no one, and everyone blew it off. Like when they heard Poker Face, they were like, yeah, this sucks.
The songs were super catchy and super good, but they didn't like demonstrate her vocal range at that time.
Well, I would watch like all these interviews with her, and like she was like such a feminist icon too. She like wouldn't answer questions that were like that Britney Spears would be forced to answer. She'd be like, no. Like she just like, and then she'd like explain like, why were you asking me this, and like kind of turn it on to the interviewer, and it was so cool. I looked up to her so much, and like after being so sad about learning Britney like lip syncs, and then like seeing I went to Lady Gaga's concert like before Monster, so it was like only her Just Dance, and it was like at one of those venues in New York that were kind of small, and I was right up against the barricade because I went there and waited online for like hours and hours to be like at the front of the pit. And it was the most amazing concert ever. Do you remember that Bubbles outfit? Like she had like all these bubbles, and like she would sit at the piano and like play piano like a crazy woman and like get on top of it and play like over it on. Oh my God, it was amazing.
That's like my biggest concert regret is not seeing Lady Gaga earlier on. Like I would still love to go see her because I'm sure she still puts on an amazing concert. But like I would have loved to see the Fame Monster. Like that was the era that like especially after Bad Romance. Like Bad Romance changed.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like I don't remember ever being like when that first concert was before the Monster, so it was just the Fame. And like she had this big sheet that like covered the stage, and she was projecting onto it, and it was like this like, you know, this experimental art piece that was like counting down for her to being on it, and like you would like see all these like weird like shots of her face instead of her mouth and shit, and I was screaming so loud. I've never been so excited in my life. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna be right here, and like I remember like taping it on my little digital camera. Like I want to remember this. Oh my God, so good.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was amazing. I saw her Fame Monster, but like I was up in like the first row of the balcony and it was great, but it like wasn't the same. It's never the same as being like in the pit like that and like really right here, like being able to feel the energy. Oh.
Yeah. I also listened to like a lot of like the Disney pop stars. Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Miley, of course, Jonas Brothers. Justin Bieber doesn't really count as like Disney, but like I listen to him a little bit every now and then, you know. So he had some hits, okay.
He did. Oh, I know them all. I remember feeling weird about it for a little in like college because he was so young, and I was like listening to all these songs, and I liked the Biebs, and I was like doing my Kesha Bieber musical thing. Like Kesha was a big era for me in college.
Oh, for college.
She was like absolutely perfect college audience, you know, like these are like the songs you wanted to listen to and you were doing like, oh my God, what is it called? Like when people before pre-gaming, they did like catch up blasting and stuff. Like, and it was just like that college mentality of like, wake up in the morning feeling like hit that in the bathtub.
Oh man.
Yeah. Like her and the Biebs kind of came out at the same time, and that's when I was like, Kesha Bieber musical.
Yeah, I never really got into Biebs because like I didn't hate his music like when they came on the radio or something. Like I wouldn't turn it, but I never like downloaded his music or like really listened to his music. And I was never like a fan. Like, because at that point I was too old and I was too edgy for.
Way too edgy.
Way too edgy. I was listening to Gaga, so I was like way edgy. From like high school to even post high school, like it was mostly Fall Out Boy and Gaga, which are still my two favorites. So like at least I made some good decisions in high school. Like,
yeah.
But that was also around the time post high school. Maybe this was a little bit later. But when I entered my first K-pop phase, and I had two K-pop phases. One was much more recent, but one was like 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more. It was because it's 2021 now. It was a long time ago, and I loved them so much. The groups I listened to were 2NE1 and Big Bang, and I loved them so much. And like, a lot of people who are into K-pop now are younger and don't remember that era. So I'm definitely dating myself here, but
I think we've already dated ourselves this whole time.
We really have. They were so good, and it got me so interested in Korean culture and also Korean language because, like, at first I just wanted to be able to like sing along to the songs and like pronounce things correctly. Yeah. And then I discovered that the Korean language is like so smart and like one of the best written languages ever. Because it makes so much sense how the letters are like formed by like how your mouth makes movement. I don't know how to explain it, but like it's so smart. It's the most clever written language ever, I think. And so yeah, that was my first K-pop phase, was back in the day with Big Bang and 2NE1. And then more recently, my next K-pop phase, I'm skipping some other music in the meanwhile.
We're not there yet.
Wait until we get to because Jessie has a lot.
When I'm talking about K-pop, okay, we'll save.
No, I'm having a hard time holding myself back.
Okay, we'll save.
Wait, let's just
the second K-pop era for later in the show.
Rewind back to 2010, 2009. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. At 2010.
Around.
2010. What did you?
Did anyone else love Jack's Mannequin? Because Everything in Transit was like my obsession second half of freshman year, and then I saw them live and they were amazing. No. No? Do you know the song Dark Blue, Dark Blue? Have you ever been alone in a crowded room? No?
It's familiar, but I never was into them.
Oh my God. I think that's their first CD, and then Kill Everything in Transit. Like I listened to it all so much that right now I'm like having trouble like thinking of a specific song. It's so good. It's one of those albums that have so many feelings that like you could write to because it kind of like blends into the background, but also is amazing. Hold on. Everything in Transit. I can't believe I can't. Okay, you have to know one of these songs. Holiday from Real. I'm Ready. No. Bruised. No? Oh my gosh, is people in the chat now?
I definitely have heard of Jack's Mannequin, but I've never like looked into their music.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of them, but I haven't listened to them much.
Everything in Transit is their best album, in my opinion.
I'll take your word on it.
It's so good. Yeah, that was my like last freshman year thing, and then it was like Kesha, Animals, and Cannibal were like, hurrah. So good.
What about you, Jesse? What were you listening to in 2010?
I don't really remember. I think that was still like
Gaga and Bieber.
Yeah, I mean that was still like kind of that era for me. So
yeah, and like Monster came out in 2010, I think. That was huge.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That was like, I have that down because like the Bad Romance music video was like groundbreaking.
Yeah, it really was.
And like that dance was a whole era.
Yeah. What about like the era after high school, like college-ish age?
That's
where I'm at right now.
Oh, that's where we're at? That's how
we're in college.
That's where you're at. Okay.
We're older than you.
Yes. And the baby.
Owl City.
Owl City. I forgot about Owl City.
Yeah. Fireflies.
Definitely went through a phase with his music.
I just mixed Fireflies.
Yeah, I believe this was around the time that I also started getting into Mariana's Trench, which is a band that I still love to this day, and I think is incredibly overrated because their albums are freaking masterpiece artwork, and it drives me nuts that like more people don't love them as much as I do because like their music is like pop punk, but also like the vocals are spectacular, and there's so much musicality to it. Like they bring in full orchestras in some of their songs, and it sounds like movie soundtracks or just something amazing. It's so much emotion. It's so good. If anyone out there is listening to my recommendations right now,
I did listen to your recommendation. I have a lot of their songs on my writing playlist for book too.
Oh my God, you gotta listen to they have.
Well, I listened to their CD but like this one stuck out, and then I added it to the playlist.
So I think every one of their albums is amazing and brilliant. But if you only listen to one, check out Masterpiece Theater and listen to it. It's 45 minutes. You could probably find it all on YouTube and listen to it 45 minutes, like a video of it. Listen to it from start to beginning, all the way through all the songs, because there's 3 songs on it that are like interconnected and that weave the entire thing together. And like the songs blend together so beautifully. They're the best, and I love them. And they're underrated, and everyone should love them.
I just want to do a quick shout out because I forgot in high school I was obsessed with the Veronicas.
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh my God. They had so many good songs on that album.
Oh my
I love that album. 2010. Oh, I was also wanting to mention like freshman year, like 2008, 2009, Sasha Fierce came out, and that's when I was like, oh my God, Beyonce's amazing. I'm obsessed with this album. That was the Single Ladies album, and it was so good. And her music videos were all so good. She was like slaying every dance. And she did like one song with Gaga, Video Phone.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Phone. And then Telephone came with Monster, and oh my God, like wow, the two of them dancing together, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
5 Seconds of Summer. That was like, we were too old for 5 Seconds of Summer. At least Kat and I think, missed that. Like, and I even One Direction, like it was like the couple years younger than us. Like I liked One Direction, but like the obsession was like the people who were like 3-4 years younger than us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're coming into like 2011. I have like some really solid 2011 like albums that like marked my study abroad, and like when I think of them, like I'm brought like right back to like walking through London, and one of them is Femme Fatale, Britney Spears. And like so 3 iconic CDs came out while I was there. Born This Way, the first like single came out. Femme Fatale came out, and Avril Lavigne's oh my gosh, what was that? Black Hole, that album was called, or like Black Star, or like Black Star.
Black Star.
Yeah, and that's like the What the Hell album.
I like What the Hell.
Good.
My life, I've been good.
I remember my roommates got really mad because I was playing that like 24/7 out loud.
I also in 2011, it was very much Gaga, and I think Fall Out Boy had an album that year too. I've been obsessed with every Fall Out Boy album ever. But I think it might have been more like 2012 or 2013 when I also got really into 21 Pilots. Their first album, Regional.
Like 2013, wasn't that? Or maybe it was.
I think their first album was Fueled by Ramen. It wasn't like a major.
Oh, okay.
So not as many people are familiar with it. I also think that you can't get it anymore. Like you can't purchase it. You have to find other methods to obtain it if you want it. But Regional at Best is my favorite 21 Pilots album. It's so good. Every song on it is fantastic, and listening to the album all the way through is amazing. It's really good. One of those songs, Forest, Down in the Forest, helped inspire Storyteller back in the day. So yeah, I have a very strong connection to Regional at Best, and I think more people need to listen to it.
Yeah. Like with Britney Spears' Femme Fatale, that's when I did the Britney Spears' Evolution, and I just like listened to Hold It Against Me like 100,000 times. I remember I choreographed the dance that is in the beginning of that Britney Spears Evolution video in the kitchen of like the flat that everyone lived in. So like when no one was in the kitchen, I was in there like choreographing this dance and practicing it alone. And I was practicing the Born This Way dance because I knew when I got home I was going to do a Born This Way dance video. Like, I'm sure people saw me, and I'm sure it was embarrassing.
Jesse, what were you listening to in 2012, 2013?
2012, 2013. This was like a weird stage for me. I was like, okay, I listened to like a lot of like folk music, kind of.
Ooh, wait, are you talking about like Mumford and Sons?
Yeah, like Mumford and Sons. And then Of Monsters and Men. I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
I listened to them. And then my cousin's boyfriend at the time, he's now her husband, he like had a folk band, so like I listened to them nonstop. So that was kind of that. But then like
I was like totally in then too.
Yeah, and then I like listened to like a lot of Adele randomly. Like
that was 100%. Like that.
Yeah, I think she was like, it might have been more
Someone like You came out, and Rolling in the Deep was out then.
Yeah, so like I really got into Adele. And then more like 2013 is when the Fifth Harmony phase came in. From like folk music to like really pop music. So yeah.
It's a hard turn.
That's a hard turn. Oh man.
Oh man. Oh my God. Call Me Maybe. It was everywhere. That was like 2012.
Call Me Maybe was written by the lead singer of Mariana's Trench.
Oh.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, we don't know that. Like, that's not common.
He's underrated.
Did you know that Kesha wrote Till the World Ends for Britney Spears?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I think you told me that.
Yeah, probably. I say it all the time.
Kesha wrote a lot of like...
Yeah, she wrote a lot of hit songs for other artists.
Okay.
Let's see here. Okay, we're coming into more recent days. I remember, like, this isn't the whole album I wasn't obsessed with, but Fun Some Nights was like my 2012 go-to song. Had the most listens on my iTunes. You know, iTunes used to keep track of how many times you listen to every song. And you
my iTunes still keeps track.
Well, I just nobody uses iTunes anymore because iTunes altered itself to be like.
I haven't downloaded the new iTunes, so I still have the old one.
Wow.
It just made me do it. I don't have it anymore because it didn't go with like the new Mac thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of like when I started getting into Ariana Grande.
Oh yeah.
I never really connected to her musics.
Well, we call that tasteless. So.
This is like Red. This is Red time.
Yeah. I mean, Taylor is a consistent in my life, so it's just a given.
We're coming into the era where I started to get into Taylor. I liked most of the singles from Red. Like, I didn't buy the album and like listen to it all the way through myself, but I liked a bunch of the songs that were on it. That was I Knew You Were Trouble, right? That
All Too Well. Red.
So I liked those songs, but it wasn't until what was it, like 24? It was until 1989.
2014 was 1989.
Yeah, that was
when we were living together.
Yeah, that was when I really started getting into Taylor because I loved Shake It Off so much. And I was
remember being appalled that you like weren't into her other CDs.
No. That's the thing is, I hadn't really listened to them because in my mind Taylor Swift was country, and so like Red, a lot of the singles weren't very country-ish. So I was like, oh, Taylor Swift isn't country. And then like Shake It Off came out and I was obsessed with that song. And I was like, I'm eagerly anticipating a Taylor Swift album now. Like I really
you're way too edgy for that.
I guess at that point I wasn't. I was like, now Taylor Swift is edgy. So
yeah, Red was We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. That was the
first
one.
Yeah, I liked that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember listening to that song and being like, this is Taylor? Like what?
We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember listening to it when it came out.
22?
22 was on that album too, yeah. That way, it was like a transitional album, like because it still had like her kind of twang to it, and then it also was poppier in terms of like what she was talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like. But yeah, I remember like I watched the live stream of like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together being dropped. She did like a weird like a YouTube live thingy.
Yeah.
It like feels so old to do that, but I remember she did do it. She did it in 2012. And that like my next thing that I have down that like really marks an era in my mind is Melodrama, which is jumping to like 26.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That like changed my life. Like honestly, I know it's so dramatic, but I just like it encompassed like such a time in my life that when I listen to it now, I just like I fall back into that time in my life. It's just so weird how music can do that.
Yeah.
Especially that album. I don't know. It's just something about it.
It was such an excellent album.
From the beginning, ever since like you can listen to it all the way through, and it's
incredible.
Yeah.
In the chat, Lauren just said 2016. Christine got me into Hamilton. Yeah, Hamilton was huge in 2016, but like it just doesn't feel like an album because it's like not an artist. It's like
it's on my list, but not until 2017 because I got into it a little bit late. But I was obsessed. I got into it when the album came out because before I don't remember how you could listen to it. Or
no, it was out. It was out. I listened to it at the end of 2015.
I was just stubborn about it then. I started listening to it. It was right around my birthday that year. And I got completely obsessed with it. It is my most listened to song according to iTunes because I have my number counter. But I listened to the entire album like literally hundreds of times. I just listened to it on repeat over and over again. I was also at a stage in my life where I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft. So I would just have like the Hamilton album looping endlessly while I played World of Warcraft endlessly. So I just have a lot of strong memories for that. But that was like, I think that was early 2017 for me. I listened to it for like 2 months straight. Just nothing but Hamilton.
It was like a year for me. It was just like Hamilton in 2016. But 2017 Melodrama, like I go back to like editing, what's it called? I give a better, what's it called? Yeah. Like just like so many feelings from that album. There's just like it's so visual for me too. Like I just see things when I'm like listening to it. Like, Supercut and like Rider in the Dark and like
so good.
A masterpiece.
Masterpiece for sure. I can't wait for her to release something new.
I know. I feel like it's gonna be coming soon, right?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. I mean, I what else was she doing during quarantine?
Yeah, she said new music coming this year. I'm pretty sure.
Good.
It should be coming. And also if this was 2017, right? Reputation.
I was just gonna say, yeah, my next one's Reputation.
I think that was the album that I was most looking forward to. Because the hype leading up to it was just something else.
It was like we had theories, like it was she had missed for years. So
we were spending all this time like buying merch and like watching videos through like the certain links so that we could.
Oh my god, it was so exciting!
Building up the concert that we went to, which was like an amazing show.
remember the day of the what's it called when the
I'm still,
Taylor clips, yeah.
were like so crazy that day.
I'm still disappointed that our Taylor Swift theory did not pan out.
I know. And like she released those pieces of the snake.
She deleted her entire Instagram.
Yeah, she got everything clean. Oh my god, it was such a statement. I just loved it. She's like taking back her narrative and like.
Also, I really loved it because I was like, this Taylor is edgy. I'm into it.
Of course you did. Oh my god, I loved that. And then we listened to the album for the first time together. It was so fun.
Y'all were freaking out at y'all like.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like in the dark. I had like my computer on my lap.
Christine also being like, no talking.
I know.
Comments.
And like because I think Christine, you and I had pre-ordered it, so like our download wasn't coming through, and then like come through, and then Jesse like had just bought it. So Jesse, you have this in a vlog, in one of your Y'all Fest vlogs. Yeah. It captures this moment of us like freaking out because it's like 11 o'clock at night. We're like, the album's here.
It was so exciting. And like I'm usually the person I just like listen to it by myself in the corner. So I was like, oh my god, this isn't gonna be good. But then it was like really fun and the best.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, the emotions listening to that album. So good.
So good.
And then like Kat and I did the dance from oh my gosh. What she made me do in their Barnes and Noble.
I know this is an unpopular opinion, but Reputation remains my favorite Taylor album.
Wow. I mean, it's like my third favorite, so.
Yeah, I mean, her last 4 albums are my top 4. But yeah, Reputation is my favorite because I love all of the songs so much.
My favorite's Folklore.
No.
And that is the last one on my list. Like, what an era that marks, all of last year.
I have a couple more. Before we get into K-pop, which I know, Jessica, you'll want to talk about.
Yeah, do your K-pop here.
I want to mention my other big one from 2017, which was Paramore's After Laughter. That album meant so much to me. I listened to it so much. It's just such a great album and was such like an important part of my life at that time. But yeah, now we can talk about my second K-pop phase. And I'm assuming Jesse's K-pop phase around the same time. But my K-pop phase came, this return of it came because YouTube suggested to me this video from this group called Twice, and the song was "What Is Love." And I was like, I'll click on this. So every now and then I click on a song on a video that YouTube recommends me. Sometimes they get it right. And I became immediately obsessed with this song and the music video. And then I had to watch all of their other music videos. And I just became like overnight, like so obsessed with Twice. And it also led to me getting into more recent K-pop groups. Because for a while, like I knew everyone was like getting into K-pop, especially BTS. And I was intentionally staying away because I was like, I don't have space in my brain right now to memorize every last detail about 7 new people, which is what I do when I keep So I like held off for a long time, but then I caved, and now I'm a huge fan of Twice and BTS and Blackpink and Red Velvet and probably a couple other current ones, but I also still have a soft spot for a lot of my original K-pop phase artists.
I remember when you were falling into Twice because you were like, it was, I think Y'all West one year, you were like, look at this, What Is Love music video, like it's so
good. I remember her talking about it.
And I was just like, yeah, whatever, Kat, like it's fine. Like, I don't get it. And then oh no. Okay, so
what happened, Jesse?
So I listened to like a bit of K-pop. Like I listened to like BTS Save Me and then Monsta X, one of their songs. And I was like, okay, this is really good. Like I enjoy it, but like I wasn't fully into it until Blackpink's Do 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 Do. That's when I was like,
is it called Do 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 Do?
Yeah, it's so good.
Actually, Chrissy, I remember when I lived in LA, I tried to get you to listen to K-pop sometimes. And
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the songs.
It was 21.
Yeah. Which actually, Rose just released a solo album.
know.
There's a song on her album that I think you would really like, Christine, by the way. It's full English. It's great. I'll send you it after. But like K-pop just like changed my world because like what I was saying about Lady Gaga, like I love Lady Gaga's like performance aspect, like her as an artist. And like I'm not saying K-pop is anywhere near her level because I think she brings like an emotion to it that like
she's on like a level of her own.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that K-pop is like it, but it has elements of what I love about Lady Gaga that like I've been missing with music. Like the performance aspect is unreal in K-pop. Like the standard is so high and like it just
it's not just the standard, it's the dedication that
it's the work, the passion. It's just like it's unmatched. Like honestly, like it's so unmatched. Like I look at artists in like the US and I'm just like, wow, like you're like you could do so much better. Like where's your passion? Like
where's your dedication?
Wow, you only care about the money. Like I don't know. It's just insane. So I'm currently in my K-pop phase. I don't know how long it'll last, but I'm still vibing it out. So yeah.
I'm still there too.
Yeah.
And it's because Twice just came out with another full album like at the end of last year, which was great. I loved it. Fantastic, great album. Highly recommend.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm still a little bit in K-pop. Also, Gaga came out with an album last year, which was great. It's been a while since Fall Out Boy came out with one, but I'm sure they will soon enough.
My favorite K-pop meme is us learning that K-pop dance that Jesse showed us.
Yes. Oh my god.
That was so fun.
Shine by Pentagon.
Yes, I was like the one. No, I have a couple Blackpink songs on my playlist, but also whenever Shine by Pentagon goes on, I'm like doing this that weird dance move.
Dynamite? Did you like Dynamite?
I think I watched the music video for it. Is that Blackpink?
No.
Oh, okay. Whatever their new song is, I watched their new song.
You should watch BTS Dynamite. I think you would like it because it's a really fun, catchy song.
Oh, watch it. I remember like Blackpink's big song. What was it again? The big one from like 2 years ago.
Kill This Love. That's the one.
Yeah, that one. I remember like that was my song when I was like so anxious about Again But Better. Now I associate it with my anxiety, but I would put it on and dance around to try to like kill my anxiety.
Wait, did you listen to Lovesick Girls, Christine? I feel like you'd love that.
I only listened to like a couple.
Christine, we're gonna get you into K-pop if it kills us.
The thing is, like, I just connect to music so much more when I can like listen to every lyric. So since I don't speak the language, like I can't connect to it as much, so it doesn't stick with me as much.
Well, a lot of their choruses, if they aren't almost entirely in English, they at least have a lot of English phrases that you can capture.
Yeah, but like the choruses of every song are like the floofiest part of the song, you know? Like,
and this is why I started to learn Korean in the beginning. So I was like, I want to understand what I'm singing along to.
Yeah. But I have listened to Ice Cream feat Selena Gomez.
I
remember I hated it at first, but now I love it so much.
Well, I didn't like it at first either, and then it grew on me because I watched it dances.
What I found was a mashup of its Ice Cream. The like backing music for that. It uses the music and the beat from What Is Love from Toy.
Oh.
It's like much more upbeat and catchy, and it really works. I really love that. The music video on YouTube, it's like what if Ice Cream was a happy song. It's great. Recommend.
Every time you say "What is love," I think of "What is love, baby? Don't hurt me, don't hurt me."
The Twice version is better.
Is it the same song?
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a version. Then it's just a different song. But yeah, and I also forgot Halsey Manic. I had a whole with that. That album was like a phase of life. The beginning of last year.
Yeah.
I never really got into Halsey.
I didn't until that album. Like she was not on my radar at all. And then I like listened to it because I needed something to write to, and I was like, oh my god, this is really good.
Yeah, that was the album that I liked the most of hers, but I've listened to quite a few of her other songs from
She's from New Jersey.
I know.
It's like, oh my god. The same place. And Gods is from my era too. Did I ever show? I probably told you the story, but Lady Gaga's like grandparents lived right down the street from me, and when one of them died, they were at the church that was literally like walking from my house, like 5 minutes. It was like right down the road, and I was in Boston, and some of the people, like Olivia's friends, saw Lady Gaga because she was at church. I was so mad because she was at that church right next to my house. I was like, oh, I missed it. Even though, like, okay, you don't want to meet Lady Gaga when she's like mourning her grandparents. Right. But like to like see her, especially then when she was like just dropped Monster, and I was like, you know, the obsession was so high.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' current music eras, would you say? Aside from Taylor Swift, because I feel like that's kind of all of us.
It is like we're in that era right now. Evermore. Let me see what's on my list right now. I've been listening to. Oh, you know what? I've been listening to a lot of Dodie. And because I love her new songs that she dropped, and I'm really excited for her new album. And also I've been listening to Dua Lipa, some of her, and the one song that I have from Driver's License. Miley Cyrus. Her new CD is really good.
I have been listening to lately a lot of, or not a lot of, it's basically been a couple songs on repeat, but AJR has put out a couple really great songs. There's one over the summer called Bummerland, which was a great song and such like a quarantine mood.
They haven't done an album though. It's just been
songs, but they just recently, I want to say like this month or last month,
Way Less Sad.
Way Less Sad, and it's really good. I love it so much. I've been
listening to this. I didn't know it existed.
It's really good.
Joseph?
Well, K-pop, so I know of it. Blackpink, BTS, of course, ATEEZ, SHINee. Let's see, who else? There's so many. Luna. There's so many. I don't want to name them all off, but there's a lot. Stray Kids, Twice.
I have questions. How into the K-pop groups do you get? Like, do you know all their names? Do you know their personalities from
Billy? We forgot it. We didn't talk about Billy.
Billy.
Billy. Yeah, when we all fall asleep, where do we go? That was a huge era.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I have the ones that like I know their names. I know like a lot about them. I don't like knowing a lot about them, but I know a lot about them. And then there's just like the people that I just like listen to because like their music's catchy. So like I don't really care to get like invested, but like I definitely have the ones that, and it's a lot that I'm actually invested in. Unfortunately, I want to talk about it.
So that was why I stopped myself from getting even. I didn't allow myself to be interested because I was like, once I go down this rabbit hole, like it's going to take over my life, and I'm not going to be like unable to like know them. And I'm just like, I don't have time to be this obsessed with something right now. I have a very obsessive personality where like I go through phases where I like really, really, really love things, and sometimes I like can't allow myself to do that because I know it'll just become a huge distraction for me. Like last year it was a lot of anime, a lot of anime and manga that like I tried to resist, but then I couldn't, and then I spent just months being obsessed.
Well, this has been a really fun, extensive discussion, y'all. Before we wrap up, I just want to quickly let y'all know that in next month on April 6th, we're doing a Taylor Swift themed live show to celebrate the release of Again But Better in paperback. if you don't know, the paperback's coming out, and it's got a pink version of the cover and a bonus chapter that takes place after the last chapter. That was really fun to write. And yeah, that comes out April 6th. If you want to pre-order it, you can go to christineritchie.com and scroll down. There's a link. But we're going to be talking all things Taylor Swift. And the live show, I think, is going to be on my Instagram, but there's a chance it'll be on my channel, Poland Bananas Books. So just like follow on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll be like announcing. But I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
We're all excited. We already prepared like our questions for the live show, and so we have lots of fun things to discuss. I know we talked about some.
Oh shit! Yeah, I spoiled some of it for like talking.
But that's okay because we're gonna be.
We have extensive,
extensive Taylor Swift, and there's lots more that we can say on the topic.
Oh yeah. And let's see. Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Fearless, the re-records comes out on the 9th.
April 9th, yeah.
Wow, Christine, that's why.
We have the same week of release.
Weird.
So this month we're reading
Chain of Iron.
This came out earlier this month. Like Christine said earlier, it's the second book in a trilogy, and you have to read the Infernal Devices before you can get to this trilogy. So if you're not caught up on the Cassie Clare world, you might be a little bit too late for this live show. But we're going to be doing this live show on April 3rd, Saturday, at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on this channel, as per usual.
Yes. And we're not sure on the schedule for our next year Booksplosion, but we will update on the Booksplosion socials. If you don't follow us at Booksplosion on Twitter or Instagram, that would be grand if you could go there. That way you'll know when things are coming. Yeah. And we might start doing some live shows on the Booksplosion Instagram. So definitely follow us there because we want to use that more. And now they let you have 3 people on a live show. So exciting shit, man. Thank y'all for being here. It was a fun time, and we will see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.